Bookie Beatdown coming at you. Paul and Cody looking at UFC 319. Absolute banger of a card. The stars are shining. One of the most, anticipated fights, I think, of the entire calendar year in the main event. 12 fights, and then there's like 2 Ultimate Fighter stuff that doesn't have a line. So don't think we're going to really touch on that. How do you break down a fight that doesn't actually have odds? Anyway, Cody, this is a great card. Is it an easy card to find winners and losers? Probably not so much. The biggest favorite on the entire card is minus 320 Chase Hooper. A lot of closely lined, closely competitive fights, but if you're an MMA fan, this is what you tune in for.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And especially with the UFC announcing this big Paramount deal this week, it's like, oh, pay-per-views are going to go by the wayside, which I think everyone's happy with in the sense that I don't want to pay for these things anymore. On the other side, it's like, oh, these pay-per-views were the big cards. It was the cards that you called your buddies with. And, oh, they're missing fight nights. And people didn't see this main event. And then the pay-per-views, you could get a crowd together. You could watch it at the bar if you wanted. It's kind of had an extra feel. So with that leaving, it's kind of like the nostalgia of my childhood of these big mega cards is maybe starting to leave. And then 319 is maybe one of the last ones. It's a loaded card top to bottom. When you look at the undercard, Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose is like the second or third fight on the card. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez is a prelim. That could be a co-main event on a shitty Apex fight night. Instead, they're loading it up into one big card. So, yeah, I enjoy it. As you said, though, it is pretty tightly contested. And when you look at it, it's good on, like, name value. But as I mentioned, Drakkar Klose, it's like, can you trust him anymore? When you talk about Jessica Andrade, can you trust her anymore? Gerald Meerschaert, Tim Elliott, Michael Page or Jared Cannonier, Jeff Neal, Lauren Murphy. I'm sorry, not Lauren Murphy. Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. A lot of it is there's a narrative. One guy's a lot older. Pico's making his debut. He's not fought the same level of competition. Kai Asakura has been fighting mostly Japanese competition. It's a lot of guessing. Is this guy too old? Has this guy been fighting too soft of competition? And we just got to figure it out. And that's what we're here to do. So I'm pumped up about this one, Paul.
Yeah. And the main event, I feel like we're doing a lot of guessing. It's
a lot of guessing.
It's a Khamzat Chimaev fight. So main event minus 230 for Khamzat Chimaev. The comeback on the champ, Dricus du Plessis plus 195, best on market plus 206 that I see right now. I'm not reinventing the wheel on this fight, to be perfectly honest. Most likely outcome, Khamzat Chimaev comes out and absolutely styles on Dricus in the first 2 rounds like Khamzat does. But when that doesn't happen, we have seen time and time again. This guy barely has 3-round cardio when he sets that type of pace and it doesn't work out. I really struggle to see how it's going to work out for him if this does get to the championship rounds. Maybe 185 pounds will be a little bit better for him, but it didn't really look that way against Kamaru Usman. Here's the thing. It's like if you're going to bet Dricus du Plessis, why would you do a pre-flop? Why would you take the plus 200 pre-flop? Has Chimaev ever lost a first round? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think he's ever lost a first round. So that plus 200 is at the very least probably plus 400 after a very one-sided, grapple-heavy survival, as you see in pretty much all of Chimaev's fight. If I was gun to my head, had to play something pre-flop, it'd probably be Chimaev. It'd be Chimaev inside the distance is probably how I would go about something like this. But I kind of respect the champion enough to give him a hard time, get it deep, and you know me, I like the crazy long props and stuff. My best bet is find the best number you can on fight day. Maybe they get a little bit bigger. Maybe more people enter the market on the round 4 and 5 props on Dricus because he's just got to survive. That's a big ask, but they're 33 to 1, 25 to 1 or so, 30 and 33 and 30 to 1 for round 4 and 5 respectively. So Most likely outcome, Chimaev absolutely steamrolls. If I was forced to pick a money line pre-flop, it'd be Chimaev because like Dricus's number is going to be so much better after that initial onslaught. Where are you at with the main event?
Yeah, listen, I can't reinvent the wheel either. All of your points that you brought up is exactly how I'm seeing this fight as well. I think Khamzat Chimaev is obviously the better wrestler. He's the better grappler. He's the better athlete. He's more explosive. He's faster. He's a little bit bigger. But it's only going to work for about 2 rounds. And Paul mentioned all of this. It's like you've seen historically in the past. It's like if he smashes you, if you smash right off the get-go, well, that's the end of it. If he smash, and you're still alive, well, yeah, like he exerts a lot of energy. We just saw Fluffy Hernandez last week. And in some way, he fights like a Chimaev. The difference being is that he's got cardio for days.
Mm-hmm.
So in a fight like that, I was saying, hey, maybe live bet him because the longer it goes, the more momentum he's going to build. And he's the pick pre-flop, but the longer it goes, the better you're going to feel about this. Chimaev is the complete opposite. He's my pick pre-flop. The longer it goes, I fully admit that the live betting opportunity is on the other side. Now, this is not my style, and I'm not suggesting anybody do this, but I do know personal friends that do this all the time. In a spot like this, if you put, say, $5,000 on Chimaev at minus 250, or he's minus 230 right now. So they're okay, I'm trying to make $2,000. After the second round, if Chimaev is minus 1,000, you put $500 on Dricus du Plessis, which also pays, the same thing, right? So now you're covered on both sides. You can play both angles because you've got this wide line. Dricus is a sizable enough underdog right now. Not that big of an underdog. After a couple rounds, I imagine he's going to be much bigger. But I agree with all the same points as you. The thing with Dricus du Plessis is that he's very durable. He's got 5-round cardio, and he's very awkward. Similar to a Rinner de Ryder, if you were his boxing coach or you were watching him throw his techniques, you'd be like, holy crap, man, what are you doing? But he makes it work for himself. He can strike. He can grapple. He can fight 5 rounds. He's freakishly strong. He's got some solid resolve. He's not been submitted in a very, very long time. In many ways, it's like I think this guy is going to be very kryptonic to a guy like Dricus. Guys like Kamaru Usman, who are undersized and able to take him into deeper waters, ends up 10-8. He has a 10-8 round against him. On one judge's scorecard, wins the second round. On all 3 judges' scorecards, wins the third round. If Usman's got a 4-5, then an old welterweight with 2 blown out knees could have potentially beaten Chimaev. Gilbert Burns, he's a welterweight, a lot older. He gives him absolutely everything he can handle. So when you look at those examples, it's like Dricus is absolutely live, and I'm not faulting anybody for taking the Dricus angle. It's like Paul says, why would you bet him right now when you can get a much better price on him later? The reason I went with Chimaev personally is when you look at Dricus du Plessis and a nice little resume, Sean Strickland ain't shooting no takedowns on you, man. Israel Adesanya is not shooting takedowns on you. Oh, you fought Sean Strickland again, and he wasn't shooting takedowns on you. Robert Whittaker is a striker. He can wrestle, but he's a striker. He did take Dricus down. Dricus took him down. Derek Brunson took Dricus down. Darren Till took Dricus down. For the most part, he's been fighting guys that were willing to stand right in front of him. Yeah. And Sean Strickland in the first fight almost beats him. And Izzy Adesanya is beating him up until the point of the takedown and the submission. This is not clear sailing, and it's all against strikers. Well, now he's getting a guy that can actually strike a little bit. Let's say Chimaev's not totally one-dimensional. It's his wrestling is by far the best of the division. Why not lean on that? So the last thing I'll leave you with is Paul and I keep bringing up the narrative of what if Chimaev gasses out because he just smashes too hard. Well, look back at his last fight with Robert Whittaker. It's the first fight where like he doesn't fight like that. He gets the takedown. He gets right to the back take. He's got an excellent position, and he doesn't override it. He doesn't chase the submission too hard. He doesn't try to grab. He landed 3 significant strikes in 3.5 minutes, and it's all control time. It's all hip ride. It's all slowly jimmy my hand. I don't even get under your neck. I got to your face, and I'm just going to crank that instead. He exerted almost no energy in that fight. He knew it was a 5-rounder. He knew cardio could be an issue, and he respected Robert Whittaker as a former champion that can wrestle and strike, just like he respects Dricus as a current champion that can wrestle and strike. Just play it smart, man. Don't take him down and try to smash him with 75 ground and pound shots and bust his head open. He's durable. Take your time. Be methodical. Take these positions and control these positions. Do it just like you did against Whittaker. If the finish materializes early, take it. If it doesn't materialize early, that's fine. You can still do this for rounds 2, rounds 3, rounds 4. Then run away if you want. But I need you to win 3 rounds if you're going to have to run away, or or whatever. And I think he's going to pace himself out a bit. So pay-per-view, high stakes, live arena crowd, but Chimaev should fight the right way. And we seen his little prodigy last night, Susakarev, get the win.
Sukayev, yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping Chimaev's in good shape and ready to go, and I hope that's the case. So he's my pick as well, Paul.
Yeah. Pre-flop. I mean, when you know that a guy's gonna probably be minus 500 from minus 230 after round one, it's hard to not pick that side. Dricus pre-flop, I just don't really see how it's a really good bet. That's not to say that he can't win, and we laid it all out. But what was I gonna say finally here? I can't remember. Let's move on to the co-main event. We've got Aaron Pico taking on Lerone Murphy. Pico, a minus 185 favorite to come back on Lerone Murphy, plus 160. Here's the struggle with Lerone Murphy, who has made a lot of big improvements in his career. Really worked his way up the ladder. And maybe, I mean, the price on Pico does seem... Is this one of those fights that the UFC sets up, Bellator guy or, PFL or whatever the hell you want to call it at this point, and they set up these kind of guys for a tough matchup? Well, history would say anybody who really wanted to lay the wrestling onto Lerone Murphy has had success. He's 52% all-time, or 52% takedown defense over the course of his career. Emmett took him down 4 times. Gabriel Santos took him down 5 times. Makwan Amirkhani took him down 5 times in a little bit over a round. At least he's getting back up, but it does actually seem like a nice stylistic matchup for Pico. Lerone also, on top of that, you factor in the fact that you knocked out Makwan, but that's because Makwan gassed. Otherwise, guy's been a decision machine. Doesn't really have any knockouts on his record. He throws up a lot of volume, but I think he's going to struggle to get the takedowns. Pico's the pick for me. What about you?
Yeah, listen, if you don't know Aaron Pico, I've been hyping this kid up since day one, and it hasn't always worked. He's got 4 losses, and I ate crow on all 4 of those losses. But Aaron Pico is the real deal. And just to give you the quick Coles notes, 42-0 in his freshman high school season at John Bosco High School, wins the California State Championship at 132. Okay, he then wins the under 17 World Championship in Japan. He then makes his freestyle debut at 18, defeating Albergazi Amiv in a lopsided duel match in Russia. Top-ranked high school wrestler in America. Signs a major endorsement deal with Dethrone, an MMA lifestyle apparel company. Signs a multi-year shoe endorsement with Nike, turning him to a professional athlete, making him ineligible to compete in college wrestling under NCAA rules. Once he accepted the Nike deal and the Dethrone deal, there was no NIL program back then. He's getting paid. He couldn't compete in NCAA. Aaron Pico never wrestled in college. He went right from high school to the world scene. He competed in a Olympic wrestle-off to make the Olympic squad. I watched the match. Nobody scored a point. Had to go to a judge's advantage. I scored it for Pico, but there was no points. And because Pico's so young and the other guy was 26, they just gave it to the other guy thinking Pico would have another chance. He goes right from there to pro. This guy's wrestling is as good as it gets. His athleticism is as good as it gets. His boxing, I can't say as good as it gets, but he's worked a lot on his technical boxing, long punches, beautiful body work. I can't say enough good things about Aaron Pico and how I think this guy's going to be the next world champion. He's going to be a star. I did a lot of podcasts a number of years ago where they'd say, who's the number 1 prospect in MMA? And Aaron Pico, I didn't even have to think about it. It's Aaron Pico. And yet he loses his debut in 24 seconds to Zach Freeman. Henry Corrales knocked him out in 1:07. Adam Borix knocked him out with a flying knee up the gut. Most recently, his most recent loss to Jeremy Kennedy. He didn't look good in the fight, but his shoulder kept dislocating. It dislocated in the first round. It dislocated at the end of the first round. And then he was like, pop it back in place. And they just waved the fight off. Well, this is a guy that's been doing a lot of combat sports for a long time. I don't know, even at 28, his body's not exactly foolproof. And then you think about this fight with Lerone Murphy. Well, what's your last fight? Well, I rematched Henry Corrales, got that one back. It's like, why? And I love Henry Corrales, but he's an old man at this point. And who'd you beat before that? Pedro Carvalho. I've never been a Pedro Carvalho guy. I think he's quite untalented. Who'd you fight before that? I went the distance with James Gonzalez. And then I lost that fight to Jeremy Kennedy. Adley Edwards, Justin Gonzalez, Aiden Lee, John DeJesus, Solo Hatley, Daniel K. He has 0 notable wins. 0. The 2 notable losses he has is Borix and Jeremy Kennedy. I rate both those guys. He lost to both those guys. So even though I'm super high up on him, he's very much a Bellator can crusher. He's can crushed Bellator guys. He looks really good doing it. Paul says the sentence all the time, or the phrase, looks good getting off the bus. This kid looks about as good as it gets getting off a bus. He's jacked, he's young, he's athletic, he's fast twitch muscle. His chin is not that good. His durability is not that good. He's not fought in the UFC yet. It's his debut, and his level of competition has been a little bit suspect. Lerone Murphy, I'll admit, he's 34 years old, but 16-0. You could make the argument a couple years ago, Josh Kulabau, Gabriel Santos, Makwan Americani. It's like, the difference is that this guy's moved into contention. He's picked up wins over Edson Barboza, he dogs walks, Dan Ige, gatekeeper to the stars, and then most notably his last time out against Josh Emmett, which is a quality victory. In the Emmett fight, he didn't, he evaded him the whole time. He landed tons of volume, but people panned it as a boring fight because he wouldn't engage him. Well, he realized Emmett's got a whole lot of power and a good wrestling base, and it's going to keep my feet moving. The fight with Edson Barboza, he constantly is on the offense. I'm not sure how he approaches Pico. On one hand, if you want to be hyper aggressive and this kid wants to stand with you, you'll knock him out. And if you come hyper aggressive and he shoots takedowns on you, maybe that's his path. Aaron Pico is my absolute guy. I'm ever so slightly going to take a small stab here on Lerone Murphy on the other side, based on it's his UFC debut. The crowd in Chicago is going to be live. It's the co-main event. There's high expectations for him. I don't think he's going to wrestle. I think he's going to look to knock Lerone Murphy out. Murphy never been knocked out. He got knocked down against Josh Kulabau very briefly. But outside of that, it's like he's a good striker. He's a good scrambler. His takedown defense is a little bit weak. And if Pico used straight wrestling to win this fight, I think he'd be fine. When you watch Pico, he hardly wrestles ever. He wants to strike. He wants to put on a show. I don't know. I got a bad feeling that he plays to, not his ego. This kid's such a good guy, very humble as well. Just he plays to the narrative of like, I want to be an all-action guy. I want the crowd to salivate. I want Dana White to say, oh, I love that we just signed this guy. I want to be a big man. And if you want to be, then you got to go out there and fight big. Speaking of that, and then this last thing I'm going to mention, we can move on, is like literally from the get-go, his MMA, not even his MMA debut, he fought Justin Lin for Bellator. $50,000 is what he got paid in his second pro fight, 25-25. His next fight was 30-30. He fought Lee Morrison for 35-35. He fought Leandro Higo for 40-40. You're 3-1 in MMA, and Bellator is paying you 40-40. So the UFC's given this guy over $100,000. He left a PFL contract, did not want to re-sign with them, has stated money is not my main thing. I've made millions of dollars already. I have great investments. I just want to fight. They've given him a good contract. He's coming in here. He wants to fight. He doesn't need the money. He's not looking to hold a guy down. He's looking to fight. So I just feel like that plays towards Lerone Murphy. I hate myself for this pick because I am in love. I'm a man crushing Aaron Pico. I don't know, man. Smart. And I feel like Lerone Murphy's the smart play. So value side, couple underdogs are going to hit. I feel like Lerone Murphy's got as good of a shot as anybody.
Yeah, you're not going to get too much of an argument from me there. Moving on down, we got Carlos Prates taking on Geoff Hands of Steel Neal, minus 240 for Prates. The comeback on Geoff Neal is plus about 205. We got here, buddy.
Yeah, so I said I hate myself for picking against Pico. I hate myself for picking against Prates. You know me. I love Carlos Prates. And pre-flop, I'm like, Carlos Prates wins this fight. He's too big. He's too long. He's going to stay to the outside. He's going to snipe him off. The problem with Carlos Prates is, one, here's a guy that at 31 years old is by no means a prospect. He's a guy that is a great character. He smokes cigs. He knocks a guy out. He does a little shuffle. He's a likable guy, right? But outside of that, I don't think this guy's deep. I don't think this guy's ever going to fight for a title. He's just one of those Brazilian murderous power punchers. How's his ground game? Yeah, not great. How's his offensive wrestling? Well, non-existent. How are his other intangibles? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he knocks people out. That's about it. Well, what's his UFC run look like? Well, Mitch Ramirez, he's no good. And Trevin Giles, which if you watch that fight back, it's awful. At the time of the knockout, Trevin Giles is outstriking him 68-37. And I want to bring this up because this is my narrative on here, is that he's low output. He knocked out Charles Radke. He was outstriking Charles Radke 15-14. Pretty close. And the knockout is 4:47 into the fight. So Prates landed 15 shots almost through the first full 5 minutes. Jingliang Li hadn't fought in 2 years. He had a spinal surgery. He's a sick man. He's just not, I don't know. It looks good on paper because everyone loves Jingliang Li, myself included. He's a tenured guy. He's had some big moments a long time ago. Looks good, but it's not a great win. His fight with Neil Magny. Not that it's not a great win. Neil's still relevant. Knocking out Neil Magny means something. It's that the fight is 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And he's outstrucking Neil Magny 12-10 at the time of the knockout. He had landed 12 significant strikes. Neil had landed 10. Same thing with the Radke fight. It's close. And then that Machado fight his last time out. He gives up 4 takedowns to Ian Gary, which is not the end of the world. It's mostly just so he waits until like rounds 4 and 5 to even start throwing punches. It's a 5-round fight. He just waits entirely too long.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he's a low output guy who waits on these opportunities and then just nukes you with some big punch. If that big punch doesn't happen, he's prone to getting outworked. Now, in Geoff Neal's case, Geoff Neal never been knocked out. Geoff Neal's fought in power punchers. He's fought Mike Perry, and he's fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Vicente Luque and Shavkat Rakhmonov, and him too. He fought Ian Gary. Not saying those guys are all the biggest power punchers, but there's no reason to believe that Geoff Neal can't take a punch. He's been in there with wars before, and he's done fine. By his average, Neal averages 5 strikes landed per minute. Carlos Prates lands about 3.5. That's not the end of the world, but when you look at Neal, it's like, yeah, he's got these dog fights where him versus Vicente Luque, he lands 121. You know, him versus, I guess as an, like, I don't know. I'm not saying he's the biggest number guy, but just he's been in these more voluminous shots. When you look at Carlos Prates is 6'1" with a 78-inch reach. Well, Shavkat Rakhmonov is 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Ian Gary's 6'3". Neil Magny is 6'3". He's fought in tall guys. He's fought in long guys. He's been in these wars before. He knows how to land damage. He's got some decent power. The second round versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, Geoff Neal looks alive. Like, he looks like this guy's maybe working his way back into this fight. At 34 and a little bit 1 foot out the door, 1 foot in, like, I don't love Geoff Neal. I don't think Geoff Neal is going to break into the standings by any means, but the best he's going to look is someone that's going to stand in front of him in exchange for the whole fight. Prates will likely do that. And beyond that, Neal, I'm not saying Neal mixes in a takedown here or there, but he may take that path of an Ian Gary. He may try to utilize some of it. It's just the volume. It's the come forward and volume. Prates, meanwhile, he's going to have a great fight nerd game plan, I'm sure. He's going to try to stick to the outside and utilize his big cage, but just counterpunching for 15 minutes isn't necessarily who he is, and he's prone to getting outworked. So if this is a 50-50 fight, I'm rolling with my boy Prates. It's the line is pushing me in Geoff Neal's direction, but I think Neal's live at this price, and I'm just going to take a flyer on him.
I hate you for saying all of that, but you're right.
I hate myself as well, believe me. I had to look myself in the mirror and be like, dude, are we going to do this? It's like, yeah, Geoff Neal.
Laying the chalk on Prates, who, let's face it, like, we're all big fans and stuff, but yeah, minus 240. Neal hasn't been knocked out. He did get knocked down in one of his fights, but that's for all of the the killers that he's been in there with. One getting knocked down in 2019 against Nico Price, like 7 years ago. Okay, like, that's not the end of the world. Nico Price was a lot better 7 years ago, and he was the guy with the death touch, if you remember when Nico Price first came into the UFC. Now it's just real sad for Nico Price at this point.
But he got real sad, yeah.
He got really sad. But that's the MMA. That's the MMA world. But yeah, these early fights, and they're not even that long ago. Yeah, the Trevin Giles one. It's just like, yeah, he's down. He's about to be down 2 rounds to Trevin Giles, getting doubled up on volume and gets the knockout. He's an absolute sniper. He's super, super fun. Smokes cigs. He throws absolute bombs, and yeah, he comes from a very, very smart camp. But I also am under the impression that, like, he does a lot of his training not at the Fighting Nerds. He does a lot of his training at, like, this single gym, and I think they, like, design his fight plan, like his actual game plan, at the Fighting Nerds in the last few weeks type of stuff. But, like, either way, that's besides the point. They both fought Ian Gary. Neal had a split decision and the volume was really close. Like, I was heartbroken. Prates was like the last leg of a nuclear parlay for me against Gary, and I thought he was going to get the job done. And yeah, too slow. Just too slow of a starter. It's dogger pass for me, unfortunately. So, Geoff Neal is the pick. We got Michael Venom Page taking on Jared Cannonier. Cannonier plus 161 underdog favorite. Michael Page is the favorite is Michael Page, who can be had for like minus 186, minus 200 ish in a lot of places. When are the wheels gonna completely fall off for Jared Cannonier? We like usually backing Jared Cannonier as an underdog in these types of spots, but is this the stylistic matchup that we really want to get invested in something like this, Cody? Because my struggle here is MVP is just so hard to hit. He just stays on the outside, uses that long range, those long range weapons. He was a former 170 pounder, so no doubt Jared Cannonier is going to charge forward. But is Jared Cannonier just going to charge forward and run himself into something? Is he going to be too slow to track down MVP? I mean, I guess in hindsight, the MVP win against Shara Magomedov doesn't look that great when you saw Shara go out there against Barrio last time out. And I mean, the numbers were huge for him, but like he was getting banged up quite a bit in that fight. But he really made that a tough fight. He does that in kind of all of his fights. Is everybody just kind of can't track this guy down. I mean, arguably he beat Ian Gary on 21 significant strikes. Like, it's not enough volume. The stats will all lead you towards Jared Cannonier. But like, you watch this like Kyle Baralho fight, you watch the Imavov fight, and I guess the Imavov fight, there was a little bit of wrestling mixed in there. Kyle Baralho fight, I think, is a great example of it, where Kyle wasn't really necessarily known for his striking, but like he absolutely picked him apart and just, was hit or did and don't get hit type of styles the entire fight there. Kyle's elite. I just don't know if I can back Cannonier. He's older than me, man. That's a tough look. Not to say that this guy is not one of the greatest looking, 41-year-old dudes in the world at this point, but I don't know, man. I feel like he's just going to be charging forward, getting picked off. It's going to be boring. MVP wins like a very lackluster decision. What do you think here?
I'm going to take Jared Cannonier, actually. And it's not like I disagree with any of your points. I see it, dude. On one hand, it's like, oh, Jared Cannonier's 41. And on the other hand, it's like, MVP's 38. But MVP's real fast. And he's a welterweight coming up to 185. So some of that speed should still be there. And then for Jared Cannonier, maybe he's a little bit plodding at times. Maybe he's going to try to get a range on where Michael Venom Page is. And all of a sudden, Michael Venom Page is gone. And he's flashy. Michael Venom Page at 50-50 line, I could see it. Michael Page is the favorite. No, dude. Not for me. Not for me. First of all, he's 38. So he's not some great prospect that's breaking into the UFC that's going to do great things. When you look at Michael Venom Page's record, he's crushed a whole lot of guys. But guys like Douglas Lima could take him down. Logan Storley took him down. Mike Perry outboxed him in a bare knuckle boxing match. This guy without his kicks and his little razzle-dazzle is really not that good. Then he signs with the UFC, okay? This UFC run has really put him on the map. When he came to the UFC, people didn't really have high expectations for him. But since he's been there, he beats Kevin Holland. Well, it's important to note in the Kevin Holland fight that Kevin Holland took him down twice. And when you watch that fight, could have beaten him. Chose to have a fun fight for the crowd. When he fights Ian Machado Gary, he almost beat Gary. It would have been a nice little win, too. 21 significant strikes landed. And the reason why he lost the fight was Gary's ability to just take him down, right? His last fight with Shara Magomedov is his middleweight debut. He's a big betting underdog. This guy's 1-1 at 170. He's 38 years old. He's coming up to 185, but it's the best matchup of the division. He's fighting a guy with one eye, a guy that can't see him. So he uses that speed. He fights to the blind spot. He outpoints him. And when I say outpoint him, the first round he outlanded a blind man 13-9. The second round, he doubled him up 14-7. In the third round, Sharamagomedov outlanded him 22-16, and at least on one judge's scorecard, won that third round. Michael Venom Page is not high volume. He's not knocking guys out in the first round like he was doing in Bellator anymore. He's mostly just landing a shot and trying to evade. Shara's shot 0 takedowns. Gary took him down twice. Holland took him down twice. All the guys that beat him in Bellator took him down. Paul Semtex Daly took him down 3 times. When you look at Jared Cannonier, he took down Gregory Rodriguez in his last fight. He's taken down Nasruddin Imavov. He took down Marvin Vettori down 4 times. He took down Derek Brunson. He can wrestle. He can. He doesn't often use his wrestling because he's in these striker versus striker matches. But as a guy that's fought at heavyweight and light heavyweight and is a giant middleweight, if he grabs Michael Venom Page, he is going to take him down. Let's say he struggles on some of those takedowns. Okay, well, Michael Venom Page has been landing in the UFC 2.5 strikes landed per minute. Jared Cannonier lands twice that, double the amount. So on one hand, Michael Venom Page is stiffing this little jab, little straight punch. He's doing his little Michael Venom Page stuff, right? Is the crowd going to be behind it? Do they want to see a guy win a fight landing 20 to 30 significant strikes over 15 minutes? No. Jared Cannonier's got superior volume, and he's got the ability to mix in a takedown. And as a former heavyweight fighting a former welterweight, he's got a size advantage. This is the first time in 6 fights that he's not headlining the card. Fight night Cannonier Rodriguez, fight night Cannonier Barajo, fight night Cannonier Imavov, fight night Vettori versus Cannonier, fight night Cannonier Strickland, fight night Cannonier, pay-per-view, Cannonier Adesanya. And then before that, he headlined versus Kelvin Gastelum, and he headlined versus Jack Hermanson. He's headlined 8 cards in the UFC. This is his first 3-round fight since 2020. I think it was 2020. Oh, since 2022, I guess Whitaker versus Adesanya. The point I'm getting at is he can now use that 5 rounds. Oh, he's a bit of a slow starter. Oh, the Gregory Rodriguez fight, he looked awful the first 2 rounds. Yeah, this isn't a 5-rounder. This is a 3-rounder. So he should be able to condense himself and go hard. He's got superior volume. He's got superior strength. He's got a better wrestling game. And if this guy's plan is to win on a land 30 strikes, but you only land 25, it's subjective. Not every judge is going to like a guy running away the whole time. They're not going to go for that. Now, he may win, sure. But as the betting favorite, it's like, I'm not betting chalk on Michael Venom Page at middleweight because he beat a one-eye guy. That's his only win at middleweight. Beat one guy with a one eye in a pretty low level, in a pretty low volume fight that he arguably lost the 3rd round in. And then that makes him a contender. He's gonna beat a top 5 guy like Jared Cannonier. Yeah, not my books. So yeah, I took Jared Cannonier. Dog play number 3.
All right, moving on down, we've got Kai Asakura taking on Tim Elliott. Kai Asakura, the minus 300 favorite to come back on Tim Elliott. Plus 250. Who you got here?
Well, this is like, do you keep the dog train rolling or you just like come to your senses? On one hand, Tim Elliott seems to have the style to give Kai Asakura all the problems in the world. On the other hand, it's like Elliott's a few months away from his 39th birthday and hasn't fought in almost 2 years. What's been going on? You go out and you get a nice little win like Sumaderji, subs him, gets a $50,000 bonus, and then hasn't fought since. Hasn't done since. Has he been injured? There's no doubt a guy like Tim Elliott that's always got his hand up saying, I want to fight. Flyweight division is a division that you win 2 fights, all of a sudden you're in title contention. He could come in here and fight guys like Steve Erceg. He could fight guys like Ode Osborne. They're apparently near-ish title contention. Why couldn't he be right in the mix with them? It's like, I really don't know. And for the record, his last fight against Sumaderji was at 135. Mm-hmm. So he hasn't made 125 since his fight with Chimaev. And then, yeah, it's 2 years ago. Part of me thinks he's been injured. Part of me thinks, he's had a bit of a rough life in the sense that he gets married and then his wife's banging his best man at the wedding. They all fought in the UFC too. I just don't want to go into details. And he's you had to bring it up. Yeah, Kevin the Boom Groom boomed his wife the night of the wedding. Yeah, not a good time. So he goes on. Gina Mazzani, what a pig. What a ditch pig she was. Although, I got a soft spot for Gina Mazzani too. Sorry, I feel bad about my boy Tim Elliott. We all had a soft spot for her at one time. Anyways, he's a single father, and like that resonates with me. He's just got 1 kid. I got 3, so his life ain't harder than mine. But it is in the sense that like he's a single father, and he's got this 1 kid, and he's devoting time into being the best father. And it's hard to be the best father and the best fighter, and you got injuries, and you're nearly 39 years old now. And I don't know. I don't know the exact reason why he hasn't been fighting. I know he pulled out of the Tatsuya Taira fight in May of last year with an injury. Maybe he's been nursing it since then. So now he comes in this Asakura fight. Asakura's a much better striker. No one's denying that. And Asakura's, younger and faster and more athletic. And with Elliott, it's like if Elliott fights one of those weird styles where he gasses out after a round, he's done. And if he fights one of those weird styles where he tries to poor man dominant cruise his ass and he's moving left and he's moving right, he's going to get intercepted. If he can come in classic Tim Elliott with his wrestling singlet on and for 15 minutes shoot multiple takedowns, make this absolute scrap, fight him like you did Tagir Ulanbekov, mix in takedowns, drop. I mean, he dropped Tagir Ulanbekov as well. It's like that shot come from left field. You don't see it. It's very hard to get a read on this guy. Tim Elliott's live against anybody. To me, as I've seen Tim Elliott gas in fights he's otherwise winning a bunch of times. He gassed against Matus Nicolau. He had that thing in the bag. He gassed against Brandon Royval. He gassed against Askar Askarov. There was another one he got kind of geeked. It's probably a while. Yeah, it would have been a while ago. Paul's boy, Once Upon a Time. Which fight was it? I think it was. I thought it was Lineker, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't think he actually fought Lineker.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like he'll get caught in a choke, and then when he pops his head free, most guys take that big grasp of air. It's like, oh, I can finally breathe. And then they get going back to work. In Elliott's case, it's like he gets out of the choke, he like takes a deep breath, and then it's just like, you can see the adrenaline dump, or you can see just his body start to kind of tire. He fights a wicked pace. He trains at a wicked pace. The older you get, the more injuries you start to accumulate. I don't know that you can fight that same pace. You can't train like that anymore. So now when the fight starts, you try to do it, your body tires out and you just can't keep up. I think Elliott's alive in a lot of fights as a betting underdog, and this one I was tempted for. Kai Asakura is fighting guys in Ryzen, and what's his level at, but he's fought in decent guys in Ryzen, guys like Juan Archuleta, who are very capable wrestlers as well, and he did just fine. So I think he's going to figure out the right way to approach Tim Elliott. And last thing I'll say, they threw this guy right in a title fight versus Pantoja, and his striking didn't look good. I think he was so worried about the takedowns, he never really let his hands go. But when he would get taken down, his get-up game wasn't bad. I mean, he gave up like a minute of control time in the first round, despite getting taken down twice. I think if Elliott takes him down, you just got to scramble. And then eventually when Elliott starts to slow, the striking will take over. So Asakura for the win.
Yeah, no disagreement here. All right, we're gonna move on to the next fight here. We got Bobby Green taking on Carlos Diego Ferreira, -150 for CDF. The comeback on Bobby Green, +130. Is this like the trap line of the card code?
Could be. Yeah, it could be. It could be the Andre Feely this week, where it's like, Bobby Green old. And it's like, Bobby Green's jab, his speed, his output. Like, he's live to win this.
Like, I feel like what we've seen from CDF, maybe we don't know. He's had some problems with like his weight and stuff like that over the years. He's a little bit hit or miss, but I mean, in these types of fights, he can mix in takedowns, put up crazy volume. That Rebecca fight's a great example of that. He's got a great submission game. Bobby's not the biggest hitter by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, CDF has been knocked out a bunch of times, but I don't know, man. I really struggled to get to Bobby Green at this stage in his career. It's just like, outside of, absolutely cruising on Jim Miller, it's been all pretty bad since 2023. But I suppose King Green is live for a KO against CDF. Like, that's definitely on the table here. I just think if CDF wants to mix in some wrestling, don't just hang out and just sling with Bobby. -150 seems like a pretty fair price on this card. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to agree. Even though it's like CDF, a little bit older, so is Bobby Green. They're both veteran fighters. They both have the skills to win this fight. It's a little bit of what have you done for me lately? And in Bobby Green's case, it's like Bobby with the shoulder roll and he's, shaking his head and he's going out there and he's being fun. When you lose that durability, when you lose that reaction time, and in many ways, I'm not saying Bobby Green's Roy Jones Jr., but Roy Jones is the greatest super middleweight of ever, and he keeps his hands right by his hips, and everything is just reaction time. Wasn't necessarily age that killed his reaction and his reflexes. It's he went to heavyweight, and then once he beat John Ruiz and won a heavyweight title, when he tried to come back down towards super middleweight, that ability to peacock and move, it was gone. Your reflexes got shot. Father time, the weight, everything. It's just you're not the quickest guy anymore. Now all of a sudden, something like a shoulder roll works for James Toney. Shoulder roll works for Pernell Whitaker. Once you get old, it ain't gonna work no more. Chris Curtis uses the shoulder roll, and now he's getting hit 100 times every single fight. You got to move your feet. You got to move your head. You got to get out of the way. You got to keep your hands up. You can't just purely rely on your reflexes and your timing to get you out of the way. So when I watch that Mauricio Ruffy fight, there's a good chance that Bobby Green will never be the same. You watch the knockout, Paul. How's a guy come back from that? That's nasty work. But we got to assume he's going to come back better from that. His fight with Jalen Turner, it's sickening to watch. It's like, why are they not stopping this fight? He takes a drubbing. That stuff's going to start to add up. On top of that, Drew Dober absolutely nuked him and knocked him out. And then you'd have to go all the way back to, I guess, Dustin Poirier doing it once upon a time. I'm not saying the guy's chinny. I'm saying he's had 3 devastating knockout losses in his last 6 fights. He's getting older. His reflexes are starting to slow down. Carlos Diego Ferreira has more than enough gunpowder to just hit him, probably with an overhand right. He's got tight boxing combinations. Move back. This guy's trying to shoulder roll. Slip the first one, slip the second one, put a left hook behind it. As long as you keep throwing, he's going to move himself into one of them, and I don't think he's got the durability to take it anymore. The reason I came to Carlos Diego Ferreira wasn't the punching narrative, though. It was the ground game. Mauricio Ruffy, he shot 0 takedowns. Paddy Pimblett shot 0 takedowns. Bobby Green shot the takedown. Paddy Pimblett triangle choked him. Jim Miller can wrestle, and he was getting beat up. He shot 0 takedowns in that fight. Jalen Turner shot 0. Grant Dawson shot 0. Tony Ferguson shot 3. Well, Tony Ferguson really not Tony Ferguson anymore. Point being is that when you watch Islam Makhachev, I get it. You can tell Bobby Green's not great on the ground. Yeah, he subbed Tony Ferguson. It was a cool little moment. He's been working on his grappling for a long time. You're a high-level black belt that can hurt this guy and get on top. Jalen Turner hurt him, got on top, evaporated him. Islam Makhachev just took him down, and once he was on top, he's like, this guy's got nothing for me. Carlos Diego Ferreira is a third-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He can wrestle a little bit. He can strike. He can grapple. He can fight 15 minutes. And if he brings that same approach to this fight that he did into the Matus Rebecki fight, I think it's just going to be just fine. Whereas I can land with you standing. I can take you down. I can fight 15 minutes. Rebecki versus Carlos Diego Ferreira in round 3, right? In round 3, Carlos Diego Ferreira landed 62 significant strikes in the 3rd round alone to put him away. Cardio's there, output's there, striking's there, grappling's there. You're a very talented guy, and you're very well-rounded. Bobby's got holes. Use some of your skills to exploit those holes. But is it going to be easy? Yeah, nothing ever seems to be easy these days, Paul. But Carlos Diego Ferreira is my pick as well.
Yeah, I mean, is it all that different from the Anthony Pettis fight in 2020? And now we're going back 5 years, but 5.5 years. It's a long time ago, but
you're right.
Is it all that different? Not really. Definitely on the table that Bobby Green could knock him out. We have seen, Rebecki even knocked down CDF in round 1, but yeah, get a little bit of wrestling going, or at least try to mix it in a little bit, and don't just stand in the pocket and exchange. And I think it's a pretty winnable fight for CDF. We move on down. We've got Michał Oleksiejczuk taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Michał is a minus 220 favorite to come back on Meerschaert, plus 185. Who you got here?
I'm going to ask you a question before I start the breakdown in here, and I totally apologize. I should just know the answer. But Michał Oleksiejczuk, he's not really at Fight Nerds either, right? Like, he's dropping by. Has he dropped by at all for this fight?
Let me effort that.
Yeah, and then I'll start my breakdown. You just let me know what you find up on that. The thing with Mikey O is Lord Michael is like, yeah, this guy's got some serious talent in the terms of he's got legit power. He won his UFC debut at 205 against Khalil Roundtree. Overturned to a no contest because he was on the juice, but all the same, it's like, that's an elite level striker up a weight class, and you did good. He fought Alvin St. Preux, a former title challenger, Jimmy Crute, at one time supposed to be good, Dustin Jacoby, currently a top 15, top 10 guy. Karol Barhow, top 5 guy. Michał Pereira, Kevin Holland, Sharon Magomedov. When he loses, it's to good guys. When he wins, he knocks out Chidi and Jaquani in a round. Cody Brunridge, we all don't like him. Knock him out in the first round is what you should do. Mikey does that. Knocks out Sam Alvey in the first round. Knocks out Shamil Gamzatov in the first round. His last win against Cedric Dumas, another first round knockout, and that's kind of his thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 8 wins in the UFC, and 7 of them are by first round knockout. So in that regard, this guy's talented enough to go out there and land a shot. Meerschaert's not been knocked out in the last 5 years, but Meerschaert's a chinny guy, and you can't knock him out. I do feel like Mikey O could do that. If the fight gets outside of the first round, if the fight goes into the second and the third round, that's where historically Mikey O has fallen apart, and that's where historically Jeremy Meerschaert has actually won fights. The longer these things go, Jeremy Meerschaert's wrestling is not good, and when you're fresh, he can't take you down. And in the second, when you start to slow, that's when he may get you down. Maybe he gets you down in the third round. At some point, he'll get you down, and he's got an advanced submission game. Tons of submission wins. Very opportunistic with the threat of just grabbing a neck, grabbing an arm, whatever the case may be. Jeremy Meerschaert can submit Baby O. He can take him down. That's the real $1 million question right there. Can he take him down? If he doesn't, he's going to get chewed up on the feet, possibly get knocked out. If Baby Mikey O comes in as a version of him that we've seen in the past, where he's a one-round guy with a bad game plan, he's gonna lose this fight. This is a good live bet for Jeremy Meerschaert. If you're a Meerschaert guy, GM3, wait for the first round to end. Meerschaert doesn't get knocked out in the first round, and he's still with it. He's live. So it's hard to say. When I look at Michał Oleksiejczuk, that last fight against Cedric Dumas, it was kind of like, oh, he's back. He snapped a 3-fight losing streak. He's back, and he's with the Fighting Nerds, and he only spent 2 weeks on the Fighting Nerds. And the narrative is he's back. He reinvented himself, and this is going to be great. I don't know, man. You beat Cedric Dumas. It doesn't really do anything for me. Now you're taking on a generational gatekeeper who's fought in a ton of top guys and gave him a go. He kind of gave Reiner de Ridder a bit of a go until the third round. Like, he's not terrible. He's got tricks to winning this fight. It's just, I don't think he's an athlete. I think he's slow. I think he's plodding. I think his chin is just waiting to get nuked. As I mentioned, he hasn't been knocked out in a while, but when you go back to those fights where he's getting knocked out, it's like he's going all the way out fast. Ian Heinisch knocked him out in 1:14. Khamzat Chimaev knocked him out in 17 seconds. Yeah, since then, he hasn't been getting knocked out, but I can't say that they're big power punchers, right? Mikey O, as I mentioned, he's got 7 of his 8 UFC wins are first-round knockout. He hits Gerald. It's goodbye. And so, I'm very tempted to take him. This is the one fight on the card that I really have a poor time getting a read on. But I want to buy into the narrative that he's got a good game plan and he's getting his shit together. He's got a brother that fights. His brother's better than him. Maybe he's in this point of his life and his career where he's got experience now. He'll fight a little more responsibly. He's figured out to hone his skills. He's got his brother that's motivating him. He went to, Fighting Nerd to train under a guy in Karol Barhow that beat his ass. So that's all good. He made it to the second round. Okay, that's got to count for something. I would say Mikey O by the thinnest margin, but by weigh-in show on Friday, if there's one fight that I feel like I could flop on, it could be this one.
Mikey O, full 8-week training camp at Fighting Nerds.
Let's go. I'm in. Mikey O's my pick.
People forget Mikey O undefeated
with the Fighting Nerds. Yeah. And he only spent 2 weeks.
Only want to know,
8 weeks now.
It was dumbass. He knocked out dumbass. It is what it is. GM3 could cause him some problem. GM3. The problem with GM3, he's not a great wrestler, so he's going to need to survive an early onslaught from Mikey O. I think Mikey O is going to knock his damn head off. What's Mikey O round 1? It's too short. I'd prefer to just go Mikey O, KO. Hopefully they worked on some. And there's him training with Rodolfo Vieira, I believe, as well.
Yeah, this is a great place to be because it's like, dude, GM3's got some good grappling. It's like, dog, I'm with a bunch of guys that got really
Vieira's not a great wrestler, but I think he's a better wrestler than GM3.
Yeah, they're about the same.
Elias Silvero, here they are. Him and Nina Drama.
Whoa. Old school guys are not supposed to have sex 4 weeks out of the fight, man. Nina Drama, she's
how's that work out for all these
guys. Sometimes at the same time.
Is that Cesare on the far left there? I think so. Who's this big mountain of a dude right next to him.
Yeah, Contender Series 2027,
Yeah.
2026.
Who the hell's that guy?
Yeah,
there's
I'm
him
in.
on
That's
there's him
good
on
to
the
know.
beach getting his Polish tan in. Good for him. Yeah, Mikey KO. Let's go.
All right, baby, let's go. I'm in.
Lupi Godinez takes on Jessica Andrade, minus 150 or minus 145-ish for Lupi. The comeback on Andrade, plus 125. Who you got here, buddy?
Yeah, pure narrative. I think Jessica Andrade is done. And I have, flirted with this idea before in the past, because sometimes what she loses, a lot of the times it's like she flat up just does not show up. Like Erin Blanchfield just dog walks her out, lands her striking, and then takes her down and subs her. Yao Jinan knocks her out 220. It was like the first shot that lands. She didn't want to be there. Tatiana Suarez takes her down and then grabs the neck, and Andrade says, I don't want to be here no more. Then she's vocal about, I'm going through a divorce, and because I'm a far superior earner than my wife's taking me to court, and I have no money. I'm paying her lawyer. I'm paying my lawyer. I'm losing half of my stuff. I've now 30 fights into my UFC career, and I've lost everything. I need to fight. I just need to take fights. Sometimes they're bad fights. Sometimes she's not prepared. When she is on, beats Mackenzie Dern, look good. When she's not on, she just goes through the motions. The thing for me is she went through the motions against Blanchfield. She went through the motions versus Jan. She went through the motions with Tatiana Suarez, right? Against Mackenzie Dern, she looked motivated. She dropped her 4 times. She got a second round TKO. She looked good. Against Marina Rodriguez, again, I thought she was just kind of going through the motions, but she won a split decision, which didn't age well. Marina's been very short on luck in the UFC these days and is retired now. And you squeak out a split decision where you look lethargic. But then Natalia Silva tripled her up almost. And Jasmine Jasudavicius, it's like one takedown, and Andrade is just like, here's my neck, take me out. Don't want to be here no more. When I look at Lupi doesn't have the big X factor, that she doesn't have the big stinging power, and she doesn't have the very deep grappling game, but she's extremely well-rounded. Like, her durability is good enough that if Andrade is to happen to come out and swing a couple hooks, she can take it. She's not going to get caught in an Andrade guillotine choke. In fact, she'll be the one pushing the pace. She'll be the one mixing in takedowns. She took down Julia Pilastri 5 times her last time out. She took Mackenzie Dern down twice. I think she's comfortable with the ground game. Andrade, black belt. It's like when other black belts get on top of her, she's a fish out of water. And I think Lupi realizes I can box with her. I've got better technical boxing. I've got a better jab. And Andrade has got, they both got short reaches, but Andrade tends to throw these little hooks from like the outside, right? Whereas Lupi's going to throw a little more straight. I know her name's Lupi, but she's going to throw a little straighter and a little cleaner. The difference is Andrade needs to land in the pocket. She doesn't land anything at range. So when she commits to stepping in the pocket, I think Lupi's going to take her down. And when Lupi takes her down, and Andrade just isn't scrambling anymore. On one hand, you can look at Jessica Andrade and say, well, this girl's not old. I mean, this girl's still, I'm pretty sure she's 32, right? Like, she by age, she's still got great fights ahead of her. And 33, sorry. Actually about to turn 34 now.
Yeah.
She's 40 fights into her career, man. And when I say 40 fights, she's got a 17-12 UFC record. She's been through the ringer, but she's lost 12 times in the UFC. A loss is not going to set her back. A loss is not going to disrupt her. She's already won a UFC title. She's just trying to pay some bills at this point. I feel like Lupi Godinez, losing to Verna Jandiroba, an elite grappler, is like, I couldn't take her down. And then, when she had 3 submission attempts, it's a weird fight. And Mackenzie Dern, it was a weird fight. Jessica Andrade,
because she's scared to take Dern.
You're scared to go to the ground with these girls, at least for a prolonged period. Even when you do get a takedown, she grabs your arm, you pull out and you stand back up.
Mm-hmm.
Against Andrade, it's like she actually accepts positions on the ground. That's the way to approach it. This is very narrative, in my opinion. I think Lupi, with the wrestling, is just going to make this look easy, and Andrade is not going to show up. Yeah, it's a pay-per-view. Yeah, it's an arena. Yeah, there's a live crowd. Yeah, they're going to be salivating, but it's also one of the earlier fights on the card, I believe. So, I can't go with Andrade. Just she's 50-50, and there's not enough dog money to say that this 50% is going to be profitable for me. So I'm off on her. Got to go towards Lupi to go.
Probably a Lupi by decision, but -1.
Yeah, don't know about that, because
I don't know for sure.
Because when Andrade says I'm done, she quite literally means I'm done. Right?
The decision prop is just like -115. It's just not enough. not enough to get off of the money line. The sub has got knocked around a little bit, but Lupi's not the greatest submission specialist, but you never really know. Yeah, it's really good. You're gonna know a lot about this fight from that first wrestling exchange. You know what I mean? I'm with you. I think Lupi Godinez gets the wrestling going, but like the Pilastri fight was, at least by the numbers, relatively close on the feet. Like Lupi's not. She's very hittable, well, at least at range, and that could cause some problems for her against Jessica Andrade. But and it's strawweight. I think Jessica Andrade's game at strawweight has been a lot better than when she moves up to 125.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You're right about that.
But those takedowns, I think they're gonna get there for Lupi. Lupi is also the pick for me. We got Chase Hooper taking on Alexander Hernandez. Hooper, a minus 320 favorite to come back on Hernandez, plus 270. Hooper, the biggest favorite on the card. But, prospect that's just kind of figured it all out. There were some questions. I mean, in hindsight, Steve Loss doesn't look so bad anymore, does it? That at the time was just like, oh, busted prospect. He's so dead. He's done. He's done. Moicano. I guess Moicano was actually a Fury grappling. Steve Ojo Pierre. I mean, that was bad, but Chase Hooper didn't even have hair on his balls at that point in his life, I'm pretty sure. We seem progressively just him getting smarter, the striking's coming along, the volume, the pace. He may struggle to get some takedowns early, but he's way longer than Alexander Hernandez. I think he can just do just fine on the feet, to be perfectly honest. And Hernandez is not the Hernandez that we saw when he first kind of cracked into the UFC. He really doesn't have the shut your lights out power. Like that was, he came in, got humbled by Donald Cowboy Cerrone in a fight where it's like it looked like he was going to be the super prospect after blasting through or winning against OAM and then blasting Neal. But ever since then, it's been kind of up and down and all around. He barely got by Kurt Hollowball last time out, and that's because he was able to lean on that wrestling. I think just Chase just sets a pace that I really struggle to see Alexander Hernandez keep over the course of 3 rounds. Hernandez could have some success early, but get into these grappling exchanges, these like high speed, high tenacity exchanges and transitions and stuff. And I think Hernandez is gonna gas. Hooper. Curious about Hooper, like late props. What's your take here?
Yeah, I got Hooper as well. I agree. He's the biggest favorite on the card. And does it feel like he should be the biggest favorite on the card? I don't know. But yeah, this is a fight I think he goes out there and he wins and he makes it look good. Paul mentioned his losses. Like, well, Steve Garcia, that one aged pretty good. But the rest of them, he lost. Yeah, he's 21 years old at the time. But beyond that, all those losses are at 145 pounds. Chase Hooper's 6'1". Like, nerdy or not, he's huge. He's huge for 145. So him at 155, he's undefeated, and he's looking good. And his output's there, and his striking's gone better. He knocked down Vladislav Borshev, and once he gets on top of you, it's like just rains down punishment. I think Paul's got a little fight metric in front of him, so he'll be able to see this. The key here was when you look at Chase Hooper, it's like, I don't know, let's say this fight versus Felipe Colares, right? It's like, Hooper landed 60 significant strikes. Yeah, but he landed 140 total strikes.
Mm-hmm.
This idiot with the clock thing just only punched 60 of them as being significant. It's 140 total. Nick Fiore, he landed 149 in that. Yeah, it's 217 total. He does not stop. Okay, well, what about Vladislav Borshev? Well, he only landed 62. No, he actually landed 129 total strikes.
In 8 minutes.
In 8 minutes, they're counting like if I mount a guy and I punch him 3 times in the face, how are they not all significant? He's drubbing these guys. If you're just looking at the numbers, 60 here, 62 there. No, it's hundreds. Now, him versus Jim Miller, says he landed 21. He only actually landed 59 total. Why that is because it's respect. I
He could have
like
finished him, and
Jim
he just
Miller.
he didn't want to kill the old man.
I grew up watching Jim Miller. My dad was a Jim Miller
We called
fan.
that. We said that
He's gonna be
that Jim Miller was going to win by decision when everybody was betting the sub, or like, you know, the inside.
Yeah,
the
we
distance,
took the decision in the over because it's like he's got a lot of respect for Jim, and you can see he's got Jim in these spots where it's like, I'm gonna grab the arm. I would like to submit Jim Miller, be an excellent feather in my cap. It's like, well, you might have to beat the shit out of him, and then he'll give you the submission. It's like, I'm just really unwilling to do that. And then afterwards, it wasn't like, oh, Jim, this. It's like, I was gooning too much, guys. My bad. It's like he didn't want to hurt Jim. Whereas Alexander Hernandez is the kind of guy you would really enjoy to hurt. Now, wouldn't you? I think he goes back to his violent ways. I think he gets the takedown. I think he gets on top. I think he does what he needs to do. I'm one of the last few Alexander Hernandez bandwagon guys in that it was like, yeah, listen, he's not looking good, but this guy's a physical specimen. He originally dropped down to 145. That was going to be a new weight class for him. He's one of the coaches at Factory X Muay Thai, and then it all changed. He left Factory X Muay Thai. He's with Brendan Royval and them, but he's half coaching himself now. And he went back to 155, and he's a little bit older, and the guy's jacked. The guy is excellent physical shape. And then when you see him in these fights, he gasses out. He got out-grappled by Damon Jackson, taken down 3 times and beat up. Bill Algeo took him down, knocked him down, and landed 110 significant strikes on him. Austin Hubbard lost a split decision in a very close fight. And Kurt Holobaugh, his last time out, they'll tell you it's unanimous. I bet Hernandez, as I said, I'm one of the last bandwagon guys. Hernandez probably should have lost that fight. It was a bad look. Not only is it a bad look, it's the 4th straight fight that he's had a bad look.
He had some sort of injury in that fight too that he said in like the interview after the fact.
Yeah, and then that's why the third round,
like his shoulder went completely numb or something like that.
Yeah, well, what I noticed is the first round, right? He goes 1 for 1 on takedowns with 9 seconds of control time. The second round, 1 for 1 on takedowns with 2 minutes of control time. The third round, he had 4 minutes and 30 seconds of control time. He's clinging on to him. He got outstruck by Kurt Holobaugh 26-22 in the first. He got outstruck by Kurt Holobaugh 38-30 in the second. And the third round, it was 7-7. Trust me, man. I had money on the guy, and I thought against Kurt Holobaugh, that's the one guy, old man who only has jiu-jitsu. That's the one fight you should be able to thrive in. Now you're taking a young man that's got more than jiu-jitsu. He's got twice the output. It's got twice the cardio. He's got as good of wrestling as some of these guys that are taking you down. I don't see this going good for Hernandez at all. And as where you could say, well, the Beneil fight and where if he recaptures that magic? This isn't he looked good 2 fights ago. He may recapture the magic. He's not looked good in quite some time. I don't expect him to magically, grab that thing that was eluding him. The weight change for Hooper to 55, growing into a man, adding new skills. Hooper's taking his game to the next level. Hernandez hasn't improved in a couple years now. So, yeah, it's Hooper all day for me.
Last thing I will say is it's probably disrespectful. So no disrespect. That's what you say before you're about to say something disrespectful.
Always.
Aren't Bill Algeo and Billy Quarantillo just like Walmart and Target versions of Chase Hooper?
Well, that's why I brought it up. Billy Algeo is like this tall, lanky, skinny BJJ black belt, wily with big volume. If he's kicking your ass, I think Hooper's going to do the same thing.
Yeah. One guy's getting better every single fight, young, and has been in the trenches now for a long time. We've watched Chase Hooper kind of, become. I think he's the goods, man. We're gonna see on Saturday. Seems like a good matchup to me for him. Edson Barboza, Drakkar, Klose, Edson -150 favorite to come back on Drakkar, +130. Who you got here?
Like I want to take Edson. I think Edson's going to be the pick. I think we all know he's damaged goods at this point. Edson's taken a lot of damage. To his credit, I've seen him take just life-changing drubbings and then come back the very next fight and having a career best performance. But the damage is going to compound the longer you do it. I do feel like he's not as aggressive as he used to be. Those spinning wheel kicks, those flying knees, those have been largely taken off the table. He's kind of cool with sitting there in a relatively squared up stance. And if you're willing to throw down with him, you can outwork him now. You can back him up. He doesn't fight particularly great off his back foot anymore. His takedown defense has always been an issue, although now they're matching him more so against strikers. I don't love this 2025 version of Edson Barboza, certainly. But with Drakkar Klose, it's like Drakkar Klose is not exactly a young man, and he's thrived on beating guys that no longer have roster spots. Devin Powell, Mark Diakase, Lando Venata. The winner for Bobby Green looks good. That was a good one. But Christos Giagos, Brandon Jenkins, Rafa Garcia, Joe Selecki. That brings you to this Joaquim Silva fight. Now, Joaquim Silva, in ways, is like an Edson Barboza. He's Brazilian. He's a power puncher, and he's limited in his own game. And, like, Drakkar almost got knocked out real bad against Joaquim Silva. Follows that up. He tells the UFC, I don't want to take top contenders. And if you watch his post-fight interviews, I always watch the post-fight interview, he's adamant after fights, like, what's next for you? Who do you want next? I want the worst guy in the division. Give me the worst guy in the division. He's been adamant about that. So they gave him Brandon Jenkins. And then they gave him Rafa Garcia. And then they gave him Joe Selecki. And they gave him Joaquim Silva. And he's a big favorite in all of those fights. Finally, they're like, dog, you got to piss or get off the pot. Fight Joel Alvarez. And he got smoked. He's a lower level guy that knows he would like to fight the lower level guys and make money. The fact that Jeremy Stevens pushed him at weigh-ins and it gave him whiplash, which caused him to miss 14 months of action. It's not a great look. I would say both guys are very capable of winning this fight. Drakkar Klose's boxing is really not bad. I do feel like Edson's lost a step, maybe lost 2 steps. And Drakkar Klose might have enough to give him a little bit of a grind, shoot a few takedowns, keep him moving backwards. Maybe he can win. Maybe Edson Barboza shows a one more vintage performance. I don't know. But I'm going to go with the one more Edson Barboza. His last... I don't know. It's hard to say he's going to show up for a live crowd or not, but it's a live crowd. He's been fighting in the Apex. This is a chance for him to go out there and just throw down. His fight with Sodi Qusef, high volume. Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy's the co-main event on this pay-per-view. Billy Currantillo, do what you did to Billy. You're going to be just fine here, kid. I want to believe that Edson's got one more magical moment, and to do it in a big venue in Chicago in front of a hot live crowd, that would be a storybook ending for Edson Barboza, whether he hangs it off or not. Got one more moment in him. I'm just hoping this is that one more moment. Take Drakkar Klose, win the fight. At minus 150, I'd rather be even money because that's what I got it lined at in my head. Why not just take the dog or pass in this spot? There's not enough dog money on Drakkar Klose to just take it. And also, I don't overly care for him. So it's just, come on, Edson Barboza. One more for old time's sake. Hopefully you can pull it off.
Yeah, hopefully the Warhorse has one more in the tank. But yeah, that Joaquim Silva fight, Barboza maybe doesn't have as much power in his hands, but those kicks are definitely a problem for Drakkar Klose, who, when he's not fighting absolute schlubs, doesn't really offer much, to be perfectly honest. Edson Barboza is the pick for me. Klose doesn't have like the wrestling game to. He could get the wrestling going, but like I don't think he's an elite wrestler. In front of the crowd, everything like that. Yeah, Edson's the side for me as well, but 60-40 split, which is what minus 150 is. Like, I don't know if there's too much meat on the bone there. Anyway, let's move on. We've got Bryan Battle taking on a Big Ruzi, minus 170 for Battle, plus 145 for a Big Ruzi. Battle moving up to back up to 185 pounds here. Ruzi did, moonlight at 170 pounds. That was the Buckley fight, right?
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He looks just fine. I think the biggest improvement, I suppose, for Big Ruzi has been the cardio is starting to hold up for him. I don't know if his wrestling's great, but he's obviously a dangerous striker. My struggle with backing Battle as a favorite in this fight is just his size. I know he won the Ultimate Fighter as a middleweight and all of that, but like Trishan Gore, that fight didn't really hold up all that well. Gilbert Urbina, like okay, whatever. The one fight that he really got exposed at 170, like his UFC debut against Rinat Fakhretdinov, like taken down 7 times.
Yeah, he looked awful in that fight.
I really struggle to pick him. It's dogger pass for me. Nursultan Ruziboev plus 145 is the pick. What about you?
I kind of feel like I got Battle. both guys didn't look good their last times out. And when I look at Bryan battle, it's like he missed weight against Randy Brown. It's probably the reason he's coming up to 85 now. He came in at 175 against Randy Brown. And then although he won the split decision, I had him bet. I thought there was, because there was a lot of bias. I thought he won. The internet was quite certain that it was a robbery. Like, they were not too pleased with Bryan battle that night. The thing is that both guys are coming off a lackluster performance. The difference to me is that Bryan battle fought Randy Brown, who is not Ruziboev. He's not, Nursultan Ruziboev. But Randy Brown's 6'3". He's only a couple inches shorter than Ruziboev, and he's long, and he's actually better than Ruziboev. He's better striker, more tenure, better experience level. He did a good job. He's able to pin him up against the cage and neutralize some of the clock, land some okay shots. Ruziboev, meanwhile, his last fight was against Dustin Stolfus, and I thought he looked awful. I mean, he absolutely looked awful. He's barely doing anything. Like, Dustin Stolfus took him down twice, had 2 submission attempts, and Ruziboev landed 35 significant strikes. That's it. He's long. He doesn't have big power. He doesn't have great timing. He has tall man defense. He's a little flat-footed. He doesn't particularly move backwards all that well. He doesn't fight defensively off his back foot particularly impressively. I don't know. I think he's just a big guy. Like, that's it. He's a big guy. He's crushed a lot of guys on the regional scene. And then since he's been in the UFC, the Bruno Ferreira fight, I mean, I rock with that. That's nice. But Cedric Dumas, Eric McConaughey, and Dustin Stolfus, like, I don't know. I'm not overly sold on him. Battle's still young, young enough that he's making improvements, and going back up to 185 should be less of a weight cut. His cardio's always been pretty good. His volume's decent. The fight with Kevin Giuseppe puts up 97 significant strikes. I don't think this is an end-all, be-all. Bryan battle's going to win this fight easy. Just kind of feels to me like, I don't know. I don't really want to jump on board with Nursultan and Ruziboev after that last fight. So, what's the current best line? Is Ruziboev what is his best line?
Best plus 150.
Plus one. Yeah, if you could get a plus 150 Ruziboev, I suppose that probably is the smarter play. I don't want to bet no chalk on Bryan battle going up to 185. I just feel like he probably edges this thing more often than not. Do you have a price for like a goes the distance or over 2.5 or something?
I always have prices for everything.
All right. Hit me with like a over 2.5 for the fight goes the distance.
Even it's plus 100.
Yeah, you know what? I would take that. Ruziboev didn't put Stolfus down his last time, and Bryan battle can take a beating, right? So
I think that's the better play.
Yeah, I think regardless of who wins, I don't care. As long as they go over 2.5 rounds, I'll take my money that way. And it's even money as opposed to chasing chalk on battle, and it's only 30 points less than chasing plus money on Ruziboev. So similar to we talked about the Contender Series last night, it's like, yeah, this fight could go this way, or the Ewert fight versus Panfrov. It's like, neither of us like Ewert, but neither of us like
the over
Panfrov.
1.5.
Over 1.5 is the same price.
It was super easy.
That was the way to go. To me, this same thing. I just feel like the over under is a lot safer than a straight up money line pick, and the price is not drastically different.
Yep. Finally, we got Karine Silva taking on Dione Barboza. Karine, a minus 265 favorite to come back on Barboza, plus 205. Barboza, correct me if I'm wrong, has never been submitted, but she's coming in on short notice for this fight, replacing the injured JJ, your baby, JJ Aldrich. Where are you at with this fight, Coach?
Yeah, it just kind of got announced, so I got to look back, but they've already fought each other.
I think I messed that up because I had the wrong tab. The correct price is minus 210 plus 180. I had the tab for the totals clicked because we had just talked about that.
We just talked about totals.
Yeah, it wasn't too far off. That's why I didn't stop myself, because I knew Karine Silva was like a close to minus 200 favorite. So,
yeah. What makes this interesting is Killer Karine is look, we like her grappling game, and she's aggressive, and she gets these fights to the ground, and she does well. But yeah, they've already fought. They fought in 2019, and Dione Barboza actually won. They're pretty well the same age. I'm pretty sure Barboza's 1 year older than Silva. And then after she beats her, she loses to Josiah Nunes. It's not a great look, but still, at least someone made the UFC. And then she lost to Jenna Bishop, which is not a bad look. Jenna Bishop, irate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dione Barboza can grapple. She can strike. She has a striking advantage over Karine Silva. I think she's big and strong enough to maybe stuff some of these takedowns, keep the fight standing, and then if she can win it there. The fact that she's got the win, it's like when they offer you something short notice, it's like, oh, I've already beaten this girl. There is a level of confidence that you would gain from that. It's just I would be lying if I said I spent the most amount of time breaking this one down, because originally I'm thinking it's Karine versus JJ. And then, we had contender series last night, and there's a World Series of Fighting. Sorry, no World Series of Fighting. PFL. You're breaking down the ACA. We got a lot of other shit going on. This one kind of slipped by. But for Barboza, I feel like if she's the slight underdog, because she's got the win, because she's got a style that might be able to give her some troubles, maybe that's the way I end up going here. Best price, yeah, like plus 180 on Barboza, plus 190 range, probably the way to go.
CF Dot, easy.
CF Dot, and short notice, they fought him before. It's too wide of a price tag. I would chase the over under, but the over is 265. Yeah, I'm just going to plug my nose and take Dione Barboza. But again, we're doing a weigh-in show on Friday. It's important to watch that because, yeah, is Bryan bad? What's he look at middleweight? And, some of these people that are dropping down a weight class, what are they going to look like? And some of these older fighters, or a guy like Tim Elliott, who's coming back down to 125 and hasn't fought in 2 years and is almost 39. How is he going to look? Seeing them, how's this girl look on short notice? What's the size advantage? Karine's not all that big, and Karine has proven to be a bit of a one-trick pony. The other thing is Karine keeps wearing these like knee braces a lot of the times when you see stuff on her. Is she injured? I got to deep dive this one a little bit more. So I'm just going to, leave you with a CF Dot model cop out. I'll take Barboza plus 180.
You're not going to threaten me with I don't consider the CF Dot model a cop out.
Let's go, baby.
That is the answer when you don't have a great read, typically. Anyway, we are just about out of time. But before we go, Cody, hit him with the PRP.
Him with the PRP. We're going to go with Chimaev, Lerone Murphy, dog number 1. Jeff Neal, dog number 2. Jared Cannonier, dog number 3. Sorry, I just dropped this tab for no reason. Why do I drop my tabs for no reason? Yeah, okay, sorry. So we're going Chimaev, Lerone Murphy, dog number 1. Jeff Neal, dog number 2. Jared Cannonier, dog number 3. Kai Asakura, Carlos Diego Ferreira, oh, baby Mikey, 8 weeks at Fighting Nerd. Sign me up. I'm going to go with Lupita Godinez. Paul makes a great point about the Andrade coming back to 115, though, so got to look a little more at that. Chase Hooper, Love. Going to go with Edson Barboza. I realize it's close. Going to go with, I don't know, the over, certainly, in Battle versus Ruziboev, but I guess for a straight-up pick, I will take Bryan Battle. Last thing I'll leave you with is there 2 more fights going to be added to this card from The Ultimate Fighter. We know that we know which fights they're going to be. It's just they're not really putting out a money line. They're not putting out a line yet. They don't have over-unders. So we're just not going to break it down right now. Come back for the weigh-in show on Friday. We'll be breaking it down on the Bookie Beatdown Patreon and releasing it over to the Discord. We'll break down the 2 extra fights, plus recap how everybody looks in the scales, plus look at last-minute props because it's a prop show too. So any props that we're going to go ahead and lock in and just kind of do like that one more check everything over on Friday. So if you're already a member of the Patreon, what's up? I'll see you on Friday. If you're not, hey, this is a great opportunity for a pay-per-view to check out some stuff. You may like props. You may like hearing about these 2 extra fights. You may like hearing how everyone's looking at the scales, who missed, who didn't. But it's like, it's another little show with some more information. I'll leave that up to you, whether you care or you don't care. It doesn't matter. That's the PRP for me this week. And my man, Paul Shaughnessy, let's hopefully keep the good vibes going, brother.
Yeah, Friday's absolutely loaded. ACA, we got DSBV doing his 1 championship. It's absolutely smacks.
19 in a row, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
He's been Il Fuego at this point. Yeah,
Gianni's
ACA card that like it's looking turbo chalky, and you know how Russia is with turbo chalk. Like I'm not too excited looking at this board here, but I'm sure we'll find a few plays. There's PFL, like Friday's so loaded. So lots of things going on. If you're interested in more, hit the link. If not, we will see you next week. But that is it for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Cody, I'm Paul. Saying goodbye. Good luck.